What is going on, guys, and welcome to this week's Weapon Wednesday. With a few changes. After last week, I have decided that in order to get the most gameplay and the fastest gunplay possible, from now on it is going to be against bots. Just so I can stay in the fight longer. You can see the weapon running at full capacity for a lot more. So yeah, we're going against bots, and I think it's going to actually improve the quality of these videos. So yeah, guys, that's that for the changes, and let's talk about now the gun that we are looking at this week. It is the m5a3, and it's probably one of the easiest ARs to use in the game. A lot of people are saying it's the best assault rifle, but obviously that spot for me is taken by either the S-FAR or the AK-24. I find it really hard to choose between those because really their perks depend on how you are running that gun. But yeah, for the M5A3, it is a very, very solid weapon. It's not particularly as good as range fights, but for your up close and personal stuff, it is a beauty. Definitely one of the most versatile guns, and I love it. But it is very, very quirky. Very quirky. I've found it very weird when I've been spending the time to get these guns upgraded. It's like nothing else, and arguably it's the best SMG in the game. I will talk about why I think it's the best SMG instead of assault rifle a little later in the video. But yeah, this thing is an absolute cracker. I love this weapon, although I don't think it's going to become my main weapon in Battlefield. So guys, yeah, without any more waffling, let's jump into the stats of this gun and what makes it so great. So let's take a look at the M5A3 stats. Firepower is at 50, which obviously means it packs a punch. Accuracy at 55, meaning that you're going to be hitting more shots than you miss as long as you're not a bot like me. The range is 52, which is pretty respectable, and handling is at 50. The rate of fire is 750 rounds per minute with a magazine size of 30. However, all of that is adjustable, and again we are going to be taking a look at how to use this gun and how to get it set up to get the most out of it. With full auto and single fire, you also have the option to choose how you engage, and that single fire option is definitely very useful when you get up at range. These stats make a incredibly well-rounded gun, and even though it doesn't excel at much, those stats definitely mean that no matter what range you are up against the enemies at, the M5A3 will definitely be able to keep you in the fight and be pretty hefty. So we'll take a look at the class in just a moment, and unlike my last video, it does have all 4 slots available to customize. So let's start with the barrel, and the barrels are why I would say this gun is quirky. Not a single compensator or moderator or anything like that on this gun. I found my accuracy got worse when I was using those. So we have the factory barrel just to give you a good moderation. Although I would say that you could easily swap that out for a suppressor if you chose and wanted to play stealthy. It definitely would suit that. But I've gone with the standard barrel just so that you've got kind of your mid-range covered. Also got the long barrel and short barrel. That'll change your rate of fire, change your projectile speed stats, and basically sets the gun up for your longer or close range. And I've got to admit, with that short barrel, I never actually felt that the short barrel put me at any kind of dis-ease for long range. Especially because the faster fire rate, it made up for that until the recoil got too much. And then at long barrel, semi-auto, this thing just slapped for those longer ranges, kind of your mid to longer range. Short barrel definitely makes it a force to be reckoned with in close quarters, especially with the 9mm rounds, which we'll get onto later. But honestly, I found the barrels the hardest to choose what attachments for, because apart from the barrel length mods you can get on this, the whole gun just went to pot as soon as you started trying to bring down the accuracy. The downside is we are going to have to aggressively deal with that recoil using either our skills to bring the barrel onto the target or through the grips. But yeah, it was weird. I got the best accuracy just leaving that barrel alone and changing the length. If you guys have any comments on what you found worked for you, please feel free to drop them and get a conversation going. But yeah, that's it for the barrels. Now then, we have the sights for this weapon. Fusion Hollow is definitely going to be a staple of this. This gun is great in CQB, especially with the short barrel and 9mm ammunition. So a 1.5 scope is incredible for it. But if you are planning on having a dedicated CQB loadout for this, you are absolutely fine to just go and leave it iron sights. You have the Brival 3x scope, and that thing is immense. Clear sight picture. You lose your peripheral vision, but it definitely helps pick off your targets, getting on for, you know, from 150 meters, maybe 200 out. Obviously, it's a bit clunky to use though, so any closer than that, or if you're dealing with enemies at a mid-range, you are going to want the 1.5 times smart scope. This thing I love. If you guys remember, it's been on a few of my classes now, and it's just great. It definitely helps if you're starting off and learning the bullet drop, because it helps you predict how far your target is. So you can adjust the lead and barrel drop, well, bullet drop, far easier because of that readout. So yeah, those three sights mean you're pretty much covered. Suppose you could swap the Bravo 3 times for a Raven sight, or maybe even 6 times or something, but I didn't personally feel like doing that. I just kept it for a mid-range warfighter, and particularly with higher sights where you zoom in more, recoil becomes a little harder to control. Not actually because it's recoiling more, but just because of how quickly these sights are moving from your target. So I've kept it kind of pretty close range, but you can easily push this gun out to much further ranges. Right, so straight out of the gate, just because of how quick this gun can engage, I've kept the standard magazine on, just for the reload speed. That is definitely pretty useful to have, and the extended magazine of your standard ammunition, just so you can, you know, engage targets for longer. The same reasoning as the AK class I did, so feel free to check out that video where I'll explain that in a little more detail. Now, one thing I find brilliant about this gun is the fact that you can put the close range rounds in. They're a 9mm conversion, and this thing slaps with it, not gonna lie. Using the SMG ammo, this thing can just clear rooms, especially with a master key underbarrel. This thing is a force to be reckoned with. Very low recoil, and frankly, with the small barrel attached, with that both fire rates compounded, this thing just beams enemies, like absolutely beams them. I love that setup, and honestly, I'd actually pick that for close range more than the PP29, which I reviewed last week. So yeah, it's actually incredible. I love it, especially in the CQB. We've also got the other grip on there for when you're not quite in close enough comfort for you to be using the master key. So you've got a really good close range setup available, and without having to sacrifice on your long range capabilities overall, because you can just change the attachments back. So for the grips, we have picked a BCG light grip. You obviously sacrifice your static accuracy whilst using this, but it's a general warfighter gun, so there are going to be times where you're having to be aggressive and push your enemy, and that just helps keep recoil under control as you're moving up the battlefield. There's a few times where it has made a difference in a fight and decreased the time to kill, We've also got the lightweight grip, which is absolutely beautiful because whilst you get better standing accuracy, it doesn't actually decrease your accuracy whilst moving, which gives you just an extra option if you have to reposition but can't afford to stop firing. It's going to just help you land those shots without penalising you as many of the other grips that allow you to be more accurate while static give you. That's why it's my favourite grip. Obviously I've used it on a few classes now. And last but not least we have the Master Key. The Master Key is my favourite shotgun in the game. I take it over anything else. Mostly because you don't have to take an overall range hit, because you just knock the barrel off and start shooting again. But yeah, this gun altogether, if you pair up, say, the small barrel with your Fusion Hollow, your 9mm ammo, and either the BCG or the Master Key, you have a great close range setup, can be really aggressive. Long barrel with your 3x scope and your standard ammo, regardless of whether it's the extended mag or the standard 30 round mag. You've got a pretty good mid to longer range weapon. And pick and choose the attachments for anything in between, really, based on what the needs are in that firefight. This gun is beautiful, beautiful. I am probably going to start using it a lot more because I feel like I've not hit that skill ceiling with it yet. It is absolutely brilliant to use. So finally we come to the class that I put the m5a3 into. This is my general infantry class. I've named it after the m5a3 just because you're a grunt, you can take pretty much anything you need. So I've paired the m5a3 with the MP28, mostly because it's a heavy hitting pistol and it holds its own at range, so even though it's not as quick to use as maybe the starter pistol, it definitely will help you if you come up against an enemy that needs one extra shot, because we've all been there. You run out of ammo when you need one more shot on an enemy, and the accuracy and damage of that will just help you secure it. For the gadget we have the IBA armor plate, but to be honest, this gun is so versatile that I've been running it quite a bit, as you'll see from the footage, using the C5 explosives. But that would basically make this entire class a carbon copy of the AK-24 class. But that is an equally good setup for this gun. I mean, I just prefer to have the armor plate because I found myself playing aggressive and defensive, and in both of those situations the armor plate really came into play. The armor plate is not going to protect you from everything, but being able to take maybe an extra shot in a firefight is going to make all the difference sometimes, particularly if you can break and put another plate in. It reduces the time where you're out of combat. Got the frag grenade because frags are fun. I thought of putting a smoke on this class, but if I'm being honest, the smoke grenade didn't come into play when defending, only attacking, so I thought the frag grenade was a better fit. So yeah, that's my general infantry loadout for this gun and this video. Please feel free to let me know in the comments what you set the m5a3 up with. I'm particularly curious as to what gadget you pair it with, because with this gun being so versatile, I could imagine it being used in some amazing stealth builds, or even more defensive builds, or even aggressive builds. Guys, this gun has no limit on what you can achieve with it, so I really want to hear what you guys are using it with. But yeah guys, thanks for tuning in. This is Lieutenant Nutcase signing off.